Calling to order our February 19th Borough Council meeting. Stephanie, would you like to do roll call to start us?
Yes. Councilmember Shimeleski.
Present.
Councilmember Cerna.
Here.
Councilmember Barton.
Here.
Councilmember Elam.
Here.
Councilmember Fry.
Here.
Vice President Kingsley. Here. President Sokolowski.
Here.
Mayor Aronson.
Here.
Thank you.
And as a reminder, if everyone could put their microphones on when they speak, we are getting some comments and feedback from people who are actually watching us that they would like to hear us. And that is actually for our staff and audience. We'll use the microphones because people are watching and streaming the videos, so we want to make sure everybody can hear everything throughout the meeting. So thank you. Next item on the agenda is our Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone would rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. I'm going to start the evening with some announcements. Prior to this evening's meeting, we did hold an executive session on property and legal matters. I do want to talk a little bit about our new live streaming and how we can provide feedback for constituents that are asking questions about live streaming. So I received some questions directly from the last meeting. I worked with Steph and Mike to talk a little bit about how we could handle that because we are getting some feedback about how can they interact with us when they watch meetings online. So what I think that we're going to trial is if you get questions from the public based on the meeting, that we would bring them to the council meeting, and we would start them in kind of our public comment section at the front end so that we can get them on record and then be able to respond to them or get them the answers in the future. So I have a few questions that I'm going to read off today that came to me from the last meeting. So we had a resident, Erica Johnson, who wanted to know how she could get her questions answered. So I did respond to Erica that this is a method that we're going to try, at least trial, and see if this works. And we're looking for feedback from the public if this is actually a way and a mechanism for you guys to interact with us from a virtual perspective. So her first question was related to the SEPTA parking. The inches they are giving is not enough to safely pass by. Currently, it is a madhouse and safety issue trying to get out of it, and the proposed one will mirror this. Has anyone from the borough been down there to observe this? I understand that they are concerned about the type and the amount of trees, but parking lot accidents can lead to death. So for a response, the borough engineer, our zoning officer, and the traffic engineer will evaluate the final plan submitted by SEPTA to ensure that there are sufficient passing lanes for vehicles in the proposed parking lot. So we will use our professionals to review the plans and to ensure that all of the safety regs are being adhered to and that we are not looking at a dangerous situation. The next question is related to the Schuylkill Trail crossing. The walker, runners, and dog walkers do not stop when crossing the street. They keep going and flip you off if you do not stop. Is there additional or bigger signage that can be posted to let them know they have to stop and that the cars have the right of way? So our response is the Schuylkill Trail is owned by Montgomery County. We will forward the concerns listed to their attention. The next item is Black History Month. It is a disgrace that it was not mentioned in the initial borough newsletter. I have connected with the mayor, and he has acknowledged and fixed the error. Maybe it's time to add staff to this so that it's not just the mayor owning and producing this important information. Our response is it is our understanding that you have discussed this item directly with Mayor Aronson. The next topic is traffic on East Elm Street. It's better, but we still have a huge volume of cars speeding well above 25 miles an hour. It's great that East Elm is the track for the bike ride. However, the track is dangerous every day for residents that live here and have to get in and out of their cars. It seems to only grab the attention, clean up police presence of the borough when others will be using it. Let's make it safe for every day. Our response: this concern has been forwarded to the attention of our Chief of Police, who will continue to monitor the East Elm Street corridor for speeding violations. So that concludes the items that Erica Johnson raised. I wanted to get them on public record, and then I wanted to open it up to see if there are any other comments that the council would like to speak to.
Well, I think as far as the bike trail is concerned, thank you. As far as the bike trail is concerned, people have to understand that in the state of Pennsylvania, traffic crossing the railroad tracks always has the right of way for everything. So anybody coming up from Washington is always going to have the right of way. And then on the other streets, there are stop signs, and on some of the crossings and some not. So I think people should be aware of it because a car is bigger than a person. So,
Thank you, Kathleen.
yes.
Anyone else? Okay. Did anyone else receive any comments or feedback from last meetings? Brittany, did you receive any comments or questions about this meeting as we move forward? Okay. All right. So that will be kind of the platform of how we'll handle those questions that come in. If we can respond to questions that come in before the meeting, we will. If you have questions that come in before a meeting that we can't get to or have answers for, we then will answer those at the preceding meeting. We'll work with administration to be able to get back to folks to let them know that we will get that on the record, because I think it's important to keep it in the minutes. Okay. Questions, concerns about the way we'll manage that? Okay. All right. At this point, do we have any public comment related to any of the items on the agenda this evening? Okay. Hearing no public comment, we will move. Oh, somebody, could you?
Yes.
Would you mind coming to the microphone, Bertha? Thank you. I didn't see you, I'm sorry.
Not so much as the items on, but I did want to address one that Erica brought up. By being a crossing guard at Elm and Poplar, even with me sitting there, cars will fly by. I beat my horn, but they're already gone. And if I'm crossing a child, some people have actually tried to go around me, in which it's not safe for the kids and it's not safe for me. So we really have to do something with that corner, because they speed down, even though there is a sign there that says playground, and you're only supposed to go 15 miles, they're flying. And then they're also flying down, Poplar Street. So I don't know what we can do, but we definitely need to do something.
Thank you.
All right.
Chief Lemon, you on that one? Yes. Excellent. All right. Any other public comment? All right. So we will move right into our presentations for this evening. Our first presentation is Proclamation 2025-02, recognizing Black History Month. Mayor, would you like to go to the podium and read our proclamation?
Sure, and I've asked Pastor Johnson from St. John's AME to join me, and our state rep, Greg Scott, as well.
Ah, state rep was hiding in the back.
Before I read the proclamation itself, I do want to recognize the extraordinary African-American representation we have right here in Conshohocken. Commissioner Jamila Winder at the county level, our state rep Greg Scott, and of course our state senator Vincent Hughes, all serving residents in our borough right here. On to the proclamation. Whereas Black History Month grew out of the establishment of Negro History Week by Carter G. Woodson and the Association for the Study of African American Life and History in 1926, and whereas this year's theme, Black Americans in Labor, examines the intersection of employment and work within the Black experience, and whereas Edward Ned Hector, considered to be one of the first African Americans to settle in what is now Conshohocken, served as a Revolutionary War soldier and acquitted himself as a hero during the Battle of the Brandywine. And whereas Conshohocken resident Olive Lee Banks was a trailblazer who became the first African-American woman to work at the Budd Manufacturing Company, Hale and Kilburn Company, and the Montgomery County Courthouse. And whereas her father, Reverend Marshall W. Lee, served as pastor of St. Paul's Church and chairman of the Montgomery County Housing Authority. And whereas the Allenwood Steel Company gave employment to many of Conshohocken's early African-American residents, including Reverend James Groves. And whereas Reverend Groves was installed as the second pastor of St. Paul's Church and served on the borough's Sesquicentennial Celebration Committee, and his daughter, Darlene Groves, was the first African-American principal at Conshohocken Elementary School and board member at the Fellowship House. And whereas there have been numerous contributions, far too many to list in this proclamation, by African-American residents to our Conshohocken community over the past 175 years, now therefore be it resolved, the Conshohocken Borough recognizes February as Black History Month. The borough encourages all residents to celebrate this important observance and to honor the influential work and accomplishments of the Black community.
So I just want to stop and say, first of all, it is so important that in this day and age, especially given our political climate that we're in, and we're not going to dive into a political conversation tonight, but it's important that in a community like ours, as vibrant and as diverse as Conshohocken is, that we applaud all of you on council and you, Mr. Mayor, for taking a moment and not whitewashing history, but really lifting up the accomplishments, not just of African-American residents as you're doing tonight, but Conshohocken consistently lifts up that diversity is our strength. In an era where people want to get rid of DEI initiatives, Conshohocken is making it a point that we can't be a safe place to work, live, or raise a family if everybody's not welcome here. So I applaud you, Mr. Mayor, and the police department for always making this a safe place to come and work. I applaud you, Madam President, for taking your leadership and all of you on council. And it's not just Black people, although tonight we're going to recognize Black people. It's diversity in all its stripes and colors. That's what makes a community so vibrant today. So tonight we pause, and first we say Happy Black History Month. We can clap for that. But this isn't something that we celebrate just one night in Conshohocken or 1 month in Conshohocken. It's in the fabric of all of you as leaders and what you expect of your borough staff and your administration led by the esteemed Stephanie Checco. And it's important that we deliver a government in this borough and across this Commonwealth and in this country that really works for everybody. You certainly could teach a course on that in Conshohocken. Hopefully someone at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue is watching. But I really just wanted to stop by tonight and say thank you to the mayor and to all of you on council for, although we're going to celebrate Black History Month and the contributions of African Americans in Conshohocken and in Montgomery County, that this isn't a political stunt or political theater tonight, because we live this every day. You all live it every day in your actions, your words and deeds, and how you treat people. And it's important that we always remember that people that don't look like us or come from our political ideologies are all respected and welcome to give their feedback. We can engage in dialogue. And so I appreciate you for always being a welcoming place. With that being said, I do want to recognize this young lady right here, not only for being a crossing guard, and I know the chief is going to work on that speeding issue, and hopefully it wasn't me speeding, but it wasn't me. It wasn't
Not this
me.
time.
Not this time. Although, never mind. I'm not going to.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's leave it there.
But we appreciate you for your leadership in the community and holding up the mantle, not just, again, tonight, but every day, right? And your bright, bubbling faces, not only with the young people, going to school and coming home from school, keeping them safe, your contributions as a church. And so we just wanted to acknowledge the mayor called me and said, hey, we're doing this tonight. Would you stop by and make this presentation? I said, absolutely. So we got something done from the House of Representatives by our formidable speaker, Joanna McClinton, the first woman speaker of the House, who also happens to be African-American. So we wanted to make sure we presented this to you as well for all of your contributions and taking the leadership that you have done in our community. And we thank you. We love you. We appreciate you. All right?
Bless you.
Let's get it.
Yeah, come on back.
I'm sorry I'm not in a suit. I took it off when I left Harrisburg today. Come on down, Council.
Next step to your one to the right.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. Happy belated birthday. Yes, absolutely. It wasn't me.
Okay, now that we got all our celebrations done, I do need a motion to accept Proclamation 2025-02, recognizing Black History Month in Conshohocken Borough.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda this evening, under Land Use Matters, Public Hearings and Ordinances, is to consider approving Resolution 2025-03, approving a waiver of land development for SEPTA surface parking lot project. At this time, I will ask Mike Peters just to review the conditions of the resolution.
Thank you very much, and I apologize to everyone for my voice. Hopefully by the next time we have another meeting, it's back. This is a waiver of land development for SEPTA for 101 Washington Street. We prepared a resolution for review by council. SEPTA presented on this application at your last meeting. The proposed resolution would grant the waiver of land development to SEPTA, subject to the following conditions. And I should note it would also grant specific waivers from Section 22-404.3F6, 4051C, and Section 804. Condition number, the first condition, SEPTA shall revise the plan to comply with comments in the review letter, and I'll combine all these for my own benefit, of the borough engineer, borough zoning officer, borough traffic engineer, borough fire marshal, and shall work in good faith with the borough to comply with the comments in the Montgomery County Planning Commission review letter, the dates of which are all enumerated within the resolution. SEPTA shall at all times comply with any and all conditions imposed by the zoning hearing board and the zoning relief granted for the project. SEPTA shall apply for and obtain all necessary permits. SEPTA shall demonstrate compliance with the requirements of any and all outside agencies. SEPTA shall satisfy any and all outstanding invoices with the borough, and that's subject to a professional services agreement that we already have in place with SEPTA. SEPTA shall, to the satisfaction of the borough, demonstrate that sufficient funds have been allocated for the project. We do that instead of requiring a bond or other financial security, given SEPTA's existence as a public agency. Number 12, SEPTA shall pay all administrative, engineering, and legal expenses incurred by the borough. Again, subject to that previously executed professional services agreement. SEPTA shall execute land development and stormwater agreements to staff and my satisfaction. And SEPTA shall abide by all the terms of the resolution. The resolution is in form. I did send it to council for SEPTA, who found it acceptable, so it is ready for your vote this evening.
Are there any questions from council related to the SEPTA parking lot project? Okay. Hearing no questions, I'm looking for a motion to approve Resolution 2025-03, approving the waiver of land development for SEPTA service parking lot project.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is to consider authorizing advertisement of the amendment to the parking ordinance. Any questions related to the parking ordinance? No. Okay, hearing no questions, do I have a motion to authorize advertisement of the amendment to the parking ordinance?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the consent agenda. First item is to approve and adopt the January 15 regular meeting minutes. The second item is to approve the January ending treasurer's report and accounts payable. So first item for motion is to approve and adopt the January 15 regular meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item is a motion to approve the January ending treasurer's report and accounts payable in the amount of $1,284,487.50.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is under unfinished business. We are to consider authorizing advertisement of the 2023 CDBG curb ramp installation project. Any questions related to the curb ramp installation project?
Stephanie, do we have more coming out for next year?
We will be reapplying for another round of CDBG grant dollars if received, and there's no other initiative that it needs to go to, then yes, we would look at additional curb ramps.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from council? Hearing no other questions, do I have a motion to authorize advertisement of the 2023 CDBG curb ramp installation project?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item under unfinished business is to consider appointing an applicant to the Human Relations Commission. At this time, I would be looking for a motion to appoint Allison Raymond to the Human Relations Commission.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item is to consider authorizing advertisement of an RFP for the purchase of public space trash receptacles. Any questions on public space trash receptacles? Hearing no questions, do I have a motion to authorize advertisement of an RFP for the purchase of these public space trash receptacles?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item is to consider authorizing advertisement of an RFP for the replacement of windows at the A field. Any questions related to window replacement at the A field? Hearing no questions, looking for a motion to authorize the advertisement of an RFP for the replacement of the windows.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the next item of the agenda, which is new business. We will be conducting an interview for a vacancy on the Friends of Conshohocken Parks. At this time, I would like to invite Chris Mondoth up to the podium to interview for our Friends of Conshohocken Parks. Hi, Chris. How are you?
Good, how are you?
So, Chris, why do you want to be on Friends of Conshohocken Park? And thank you for coming tonight.
Sure, good to see you all again. Well, I tried for the Planning Commission and that obviously didn't work out, but I still want to be very involved in the community, so I think this would just be another good way to do it.
Okay. Any questions for council?
Have you attended any of their meetings or any of their events?
I have not. I did speak with Mary Yaniv and Brian McGran about some of the things that they're doing in regards to the Marywood Park Estate and some of the fundraising initiatives that they're doing. So I think I'll be able to help with that. I do have some fundraising experience, so I think I'll be able to bring in some corporate sponsors and hopefully be able to bring some funding to the parks.
What is your fundraising experience?
I did start a Hispanic outreach organization back in 2022. I was only chairman for 1 year, but I did raise $110,000 within that year.
Okay.
So I like to think that I do have some ability to do so.
How'd you go about doing that?
It was mostly reaching out to like community organizers and some local politicians, some elected official, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And it was throughout the state of Pennsylvania, so it was a state level organization.
Okay.
So, Chris, you obviously want to be involved in your community, and we appreciate that.
Sure.
Can you tell me what it means to you to be involved in your community and why it's so important for you?
So for me, I'm actually an immigrant from Peru. I grew up in Plymouth Meeting, but I came here when I was 6 months old. And I've gone to this school district, Colonial School District. I've attended my local church. So giving back to the community that's always given so many opportunities to me means a lot to me. I've always wanted to be able to kind of give my thank you because I'm in a good position. And so for me, it's really important to kind of, say thank you to everybody in some way.
Thank you.
Are there any particular projects or regarding our parks that you're interested in, or something that you'd like to see for our parks?
So I'm actually a member of Fritz Lodge on Fayette. I was hoping for some more flower beds. It looks kind of bland. So I like the pocket park idea. So I'll be like to kind of see like things like spice up a little bit because I always go there and it looks kind of bland. But I actually did talk to Yaniv about that. So it'd be nice to kind of see some more things like flowers and bushes, that kind of thing, just to kind of make it feel more homey. So.
Perfect. Anyone have any other questions for Chris?
I'm thinking.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate your interest and.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do
Appreciate.
you have anything? I'm sorry.
No, Chris was nice enough to speak with me and Brian McGran and really get a feel for the committee and some of the initiatives, so.
I have a question.
You do have a question, Nate?
Yes. How do you see yourself going about raising funds for the Marywood house renovations?
So I did speak to Brian a little bit about that today. I
Okay.
know they have considered some corporate outreach. I haven't really gotten into detail about how exactly that would go about, but I said I would work with him on that
Okay.
as far as how we can, tell them about some of our projects. I think probably the most important thing, my understanding, is that the Marywood Park House Estate, they want to use it so the people in the borough can use it. So I think hopefully with that, initiative to talk about that and see how we're going to use it. Hopefully that'll get some sponsors to be able to come on board if they know that it's going to be used properly.
Yeah, that is used for the Historical Society, art classes, and dance right now.
Okay,
So it is being utilized, but it needs some help.
gotcha. Okay,
Thank you.
sure.
Anyone else? Well, thank you, Chris, for coming in again tonight.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
There is no vote this evening. We will have a vote at probably our next meeting. Stephanie nodded, so yes. Boss says yes. All right, next item on the agenda is to consider approving Resolution 2025-04, authorizing the submission of the Monco 2040 Implementation Grant application for the Veterans Memorial Plaza project. Does anyone have a question about submission for the grant for that project? Okay. Hearing no questions, do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2025-04, authorizing the submission of a Montco 2040 implementation grant application for Veterans Memorial Plaza project in the amount of $250,000.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item is to consider approving zoning escrow releases for 313 West 6th Avenue and 541 East Hector Street. Any questions on either of those properties and the escrow release? Hearing no questions, do I have a motion to approve the zoning escrow release for 313 West 6th Avenue in the amount of $255.23 plus interest, and then for 541 East Hector Street in the amount of $259.61 plus interest?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is to consider approving a tuition reimbursement for Detective Bond for the 2025 spring semester. Any questions? Okay. So with no questions, I'm looking for a motion to approve a tuition reimbursement for Detective Bond for 2025 spring semester in the amount of $1,365 plus the cost of books.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item is to consider approving payment application number 2 for the traffic signal modernization project along East and West Elm Streets. Looking for a motion to approve application number 2 for the traffic signal modernization project, East Elm and Harry Street, in the amount of $16,649.97. For West Elm and Caldwell Lane, in the amount of $114,865.61. For West Elm and Maple Street, in the amount of $20,884.26. And then West Elm and Oak Street in the amount of $16,365.82. Any questions prior to the motion? Okay, looking for a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is to consider approving 400 West Elm Street professional service escrow release number 1 in the amount of $212,313.86. Questions? No questions. Need a motion to approve the professional service escrow release number 1 for 400 West Elm Street.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we rolled through all of those items. Next item on our agenda will be public comment specifically related to anything we discussed today or anything you want to bring as questions or concerns to council. Hearing no public comment this evening in the audience. Brittany, we have no questions or comments that came in during our meeting? Thank you. Okay. At this point, let's talk mayor stuff.
Okay,
stuff.
continue the fun stuff, yeah.
Oh, that looks
The Conshohocken Cub Scouts are nice enough to invite me and Sarah every year to see their Pinewood Derby. So we were really thrilled to see the cars they came up with and watch them race. And they actually loved having Thomas there. They just kind of showed him all the stuff they were doing. I remember making these when I was little, so it's just a really fun end of cycle to sort of see the next generation do it. So congratulations to our Cub Scouts. We're proud of your efforts, and we look forward to next year. So just for some context, my son Thomas has a very serious heart condition that's required 3 heart surgeries through Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. And it is National Heart Month. So we are spreading awareness of congenital heart diseases, which affects 1 in every 100 kids. Because we've spent so much time at CHOP over the last couple years, the CHOP asked us to be an ambassador family to their fundraiser next month, where we're spinning on bikes to raise money for the cardiac center at the hospital. So if anyone has any interest, you can scan that code. We have a Conshohocken team. I think we had 20 to 30 people join us last year. It was a really fun day. It's March 9th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. And we look forward to honoring Thomas and all the cardiac children in the area. So thank you. And then finally, we have one new resident since our last meeting. Matthew came Super Bowl Sunday, 100% healthy, and it's been a lot of fun showing him around the borough so far. So thank you to everyone who's reached out. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Ralph, anything this evening?
I'm good.
I'm good, thank you.
Nothing?
I just want to
Rita?
say thank you for that information regarding heart. We have a great granddaughter that was born with 2 holes in her heart and has undergone open heart surgery. So I know where you're coming from with that. I'll check with you for more information. Thanks so much.
Adrian?
Yes, I just want to thank Borough Public Works again. One, for, we're consistently getting these snowstorms coming in, ice storms, and they're making sure that the streets are clear and that they're safe. And they're also continuing to pick up the trash, and that they got to celebrate the Eagles win. And everyone did it safely here, and they also were able to pick up trash that week. So I really appreciate them putting in the extra time to make sure that our streets are safe.
Thank you. Alan?
For me, thank you.
Excellent. And I just want to thank everyone who came out this evening to celebrate Black History Month with us and do our proclamation. So that was very special this evening. And we have a lot of first responders that have been participating in a mutual aid. So there is a big fire in the Abington Township at Standard Press Steel that I believe is still on fire. And they are really challenged with getting that fire put out. And we've had many of our individuals go over to assist from a mutual aid standpoint, and we are very appreciative. As Adrian said, our teams go above and beyond consistently, and that's what makes our town so special, is everyone is dedicated to our neighbors, our friends, and our family that we all serve. So just wanted to do that call out.
60 firehouses are out there.
Okay. Anyone else have anything for this evening? Hearing nothing else, I will adjourn our meeting. Thank you.